most mustaches per capita of any Catholic show.
That's true. You, me, John, Caleb, we all have mustaches.
We all have mustaches. It's the Zoomer mustache. It's the Zoomer mustache.
Oh boy. Oh man. Really, Anthony.
I gotta tell you, I don't get the Freddie Mercury lookalike contest these young kids got going on. It's the worst look ever. If you're not like Tom Selleck, you can't pull it off. I don't get it.
And the irony of that coming from an Italian.
I'm just saying, I don't understand the mustache look. I don't know. It's funny. I don't think a single girl finds it attractive either. It's just all guys telling each other they look good in it, and none of them look good in it. I don't get it.
Is this maybe why the Zoomers have trouble dating?
It might be. I think if you guys all shaved your mustaches, you'd all get married quick. But what a wild day, man. I didn't know. When I woke up this morning, I had no idea what we were going to talk about. I was like, I was like, we have to discuss Lofton becoming a lay cardinal. Like, we have to discuss him. He runs the Curia now. Like, that's it. He's basically telling everybody we're on notice. He made a lot of new connections. I'm like, all right, so we definitely got to talk about that. And then freaking Sarah Stock goes and just all she did was posted a picture of her engagement ring, and holy hell broke loose.
So is this going to be another episode where if you're not on Twitter, you might as well not even watch?
Yeah, if you're not on Twitter, you missed out on a lot of drama today. But then I do have that's going to be like the first.
If you
10
don't
minutes.
like Twitter because of all the drama, we're bringing it right to you guys.
Exactly. But we have a couple things. We have this idiot woman talking about how the Incan civilization was so civilized. We could play that clip. I have two parts to that. Then I have this woman in 1993. Her husband disappeared without a trace. 10 years later, they declared him deceased. So she moves on and gets remarried. 23 years after he disappeared originally, so 13 years after she gets married, she gets a call that he's alive. So I asked, is she now in an adulterous relationship with her new husband? It's an interesting.
She did get remarried.
The guy disappears. They can't find him anywhere. 10 years later, he gets declared dead. So she then gets remarried and has kids with this new guy. And 13 years after she gets married, so 23 years after he disappears, she gets a call from detectives. The guy got arrested for something, and when they fingerprinted him, they found his fingerprint match from his original identity. I mean, it's a whole story, but I thought it was interesting. So I asked, is the original marriage valid, and is her second marriage invalid? And does that mean she's in an adulterous relationship?
Whether or not the first marriage is valid has very little to do with the disappearance, right?
We'll get into it when we play the clip. It's an interesting clip.
Really, it doesn't matter either way because she's probably going to kill him. So, you know what I mean?
Well, we'll get into that. So that's an interesting one. Then we have people making their dead children into AI interviews. And then I have the most insane Dave Ramsey advice clip I've ever heard in my life. Like the most mind-bogglingly insane. I don't know what he was thinking. It's not even financial advice. It's basically marriage advice. And I'm baffled by it. And I think you guys will enjoy it. So
boomers. Between boomers and AI, it's been a long week already.
That's another one. So all right, so let's discuss Michael Lofton going to before we don't have anything to promote anymore. It's just like and subscribe. That's it.
We do have that GoFundMe though.
Yeah, we could mention that. There's a young guy, 31 years old, who passed away. His wife was a stay-at-home mom, and they're going to be in for some hard times. So Rob will post the Give Send Go if you guys want to help them out. Catholic family, few kids, mother's all on her own now. So
yeah, I mean, 31 years old has a heart attack.
It
didn't look like he was out of shape.
You know, the first question that pops into everybody's head. when you say that.
Doesn't.
So I don't like most of Dave Ramsey's marriage advice clips. You're really not going to like this one. You're really not going to like this one. So, yeah, I think this is true. I think Lofton won. He played the long game. He, you know, he went and he talked about how Muslims are going to heaven. And he played the long game. And they invited him to the Vatican. And now he's basically running the Curia. So why don't we go to his feed? Let's start with his interview with Franco. And we're gonna break Franco's chops a little bit here. Like, we have to, because I like Franco, but it's pretty bad.
So where am I going? Did you send me something?
Go to Lofton's feed and then scroll down, because he tweeted a lot today. He's very chatty today. And I'm blocked, so I can't like send you the link to his tweet into the show notes. So you have to actually just go to his feed, scroll down, and then pull up the Franco interview.
The Franco interview. The one with him and that Iron Inquisitor guy?
Yeah, exactly. We didn't lose our sponsor. Our sponsor can't ship in the summer, so they're coming back in the fall. Don't worry, we have some things in the works we can't talk about yet. There's going to be some big news coming soon. All right.
Yeah, the big news is that they can't ship in the fall either, probably.
That would be our luck. All right, Lofton won. All right, let's see.
Do we have to watch this?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so I'm here at the Vatican with two heavy hitters, Franco and the Iron Inquisitor. Franco, let me start with you. Tell me, what do you think so far about your experience at the Vatican?
I mean, like, to be honest, this whole place mogs like literally any other building locations ever. Like, the amount of art
This is so bad. Like, Franco,
And Mogs.
this is the ambassadors they're bringing to the Vatican for social media. I'm sorry, guys. Come on.
We're talking about the Vatican. And
I love you, Franco, but come on. You can't be serious with this. Oh, play the rest of it.
like, it's like as if someone was performing at 200% over and over and over and over and over again. The amount of art here is incredible. Like, it just shows, I mean, it's so awesome to see how much the Catholic faith can be put onto the arts. And of course, because the Catholicism is the one true faith, right? The fullness of the faith. It just, I mean, all this art, it just
Just stop.
I love how he had to correct himself. He couldn't let him just say the one true faith. He had to be like, no, it's just the fullness of the faith.
Oh, I don't want to be mean to Franco. I do like Franco. He's a good kid. I met him. He has my phone number. He'll be texting me. We're just teasing you, Franco. But
Okay,
man,
but seriously, Mogs.
He's like, this is these are the ambassadors in the Vatican. It's just wild. I think there might be one other video right near that one that you can check out where Lofton talks about how he made some great Vatican connections.
Hold on, wait a minute. Oh, he is holding a microphone in his hand. For a second, it looked like there was nothing in his hand and he was just using it as a prop.
Oh no, he's got
a little road.
Go to the video.
Mic.
I think it's before that where it's the one before that. I made some great Vatican connections. This is where we're all in trouble because he was staying in Cardinals apartments and stuff. I mean, I think we're all getting excommunicated.
What is it? Super prudential to have men staying in.
Oh, stop!
I'm not. Look,
Stop!
I don't think Michael Lofton is homosexual.
Stop it! Don't make
I'm just
those
saying,
jokes.
like the last time we heard about Cardinals' apartments in the Vatican, there was two stories. One, Burke was getting kicked out of his, and the one before that was the gay orgies they were having, the drug-fueled gay orgies they were
Did he
having.
stay in Coco Palmieri's? He stay in his apartment.
How smart it is to put these influencers up with Cardinals. Like,
I don't know. Maybe I misunderstood.
Oh yeah, that's probably
Here's the thing. All right, go ahead. We'll play the clip, and then I have something to say.
Hey everyone, so wrapping it up here at the Vatican, it's been an incredible experience.
First off, Michael, if your wife beater is visible through your shirt, wear a different shirt. Come on, for God's
Cargo
sake,
shorts.
man.
What do you mean? He wore cargo shorts in Rome.
I'm a guy wearing a graphic T-shirt telling you these things. Do better.
I've had a lot of wonderful opportunities, got to attend the Jubilee here and the conference for digital media influencers. I was also able to attend the Vatican Secretariat of State, got a really cool tour of the property, as well as the ability to make some really important connections. And over the course of the coming days and weeks, I'm going to take advantage of that and offer some important feedback to the Vatican on the situation in the Catholic Church, on social media, and things that I think.
Do you? Okay,
He's going to go to his Vatican contacts. This Anthony Abate goon needs to go.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody, because he originally, like, the reason I even got caught onto this is because Wagner, like, he was like, he knew this was happening. So, like, before it happened, he put out a video saying, like, I told the Vatican they need to consult me and I need to help them. And Wagner, like, went off on him. He's like, you pompous, arrogant, whatever. He's like, how could you think you're so self-important? And then he winds
a good
up
bait and switch by Lofton. It really was.
So it was big. So now, like, everybody's kind of like backing off because it's like, oh man, he went to Rome. But me, I'm like, no. I'm never gonna back off of him. I don't care.
Now's the time to pile on.
Just pile on him. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not ever going.
It's funny he's acting like he was given something different than literally every other influencer that went there.
Yeah,
You know
he's got some important stuff he gave some important feedback. But meanwhile, he just filled out a questionnaire like all the rest of them. I'm just kidding, Michael. We wish you the best. We're very happy for you. You are the new American correspondent for the Vatican Communications Department. This is wonderful news for you. But do you think that this is going to lead to the Pope maybe addressing social media and Catholic content creators? Because that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they had all these guys come there. We all know Leo's got an encyclical coming. We know he wants to address AI. Do you think there will be some kind of an imprimatur coming from Rome for these Catholic shows and things like that?
I mean, if there is, it's going to be as useful as the one for books. If James Martin's books can get one, then anyone and their mom will be able to get one for online
I think
stuff besides trads. That won't be allowed. But
I think that's what might be coming. But I also think that's why it's smart to not. Yeah, they're going to be like Catholic badges, essentially, right? So, like Fred Simon said,
be like verified badges.
Verified badges, so that you know that this is an approved.
Just as long as the BizLarpers are forced to have a different badge, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, I don't. It's interesting that all right. Well, I'll get off the BizLarp thing. I don't want to get too much on that. But like, I think that might be coming because we did hear. I think it was Barron mentioned that like a couple of years ago, because they were all getting very worried about the Taylor Marshalls and the trad influencers that were coming up and stuff, and they started talking about like having some kind of an imprimatur for Vatican approved Catholic content.
Like on one hand, in a actual like healthy Catholic world, Catholic Church, it makes sense, right? I mean, It does. But in our current church and current world, what's going to happen when they hand out these, like you said, these I can't pronounce it, but what happens when they hand them out to only the people that are reaching out to gays and trans, and what they're going to do is they're going to segregate the people they really need to reach out to further from the church, right? They're like it's going to segregate Catholic media even more than it is.
Yeah, I think so. And also like we're dealing with Michael Hitchborn's report today with that bishop, like bringing up that that guy who was already suspended. He was living with another man, and like he's reinstating him into Catholic. Like those are the guys handing out these badges. If that does happen, yeah, they're going to be synodal influencers, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what they'll be. Like I really think that. So everybody thought Lofton was losing his mind with the stuff when he was talking about how Muslims and Christians, like Muslims can actually get to heaven, not out of invincible ignorance, but because of the good things in their religion. And I think he was doing that to show the Vatican that he is so on board with the, God wants the diversity of religions thing.
Well, it shows one of two things. Either it shows that he really was, at one point a faithful Catholic and really just has gone down a really, really bad heterodox path, or he really, really always was just a bad faith grifter and has found a path that is successful.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. It's funny because like he's over there with all these influencers, but like he's universally disliked by other influencers. And I'm not even talking about like us and like I mean like the Catholic Answers crowd doesn't like him, and and I'm not saying names specifically, but I'm just telling you guys nobody likes him. Like there might be a couple, but it's most of the people doing this like that, not because of his theology. It's more just because of his smugness and because he's always turned on people.
Right.
That it's his horrific ability to maintain friendships and
everyone who has ever worked with him, he has stabbed.
And anyone, yeah. It's like, yeah, I know Eric Ibarra made up with him, but like there were so many fallouts from Lofton that it is surprising that they wanted to even involve him in any way. Now, the funny thing is he got invited because of Alex Gerardo, Voice of Reason. So Alex Gerardo put his name out there and got him invited there. So, and then when the Alex Gerardo situation happened, they disinvited him. Well, they wanted to invite him. So they threw up these obstacles. They were like, you got to get a letter from your Metropolitan. And his Metropolitan wrote the letter, and they still were trying to like gatekeep him out of it. They really didn't want him in there.
What seems really weird to me, and this is a kind of a completely different subject, but Alex first started to get well known when Lofton helped him out.
Yeah.
With Alex being on Lofton's show with the stupid
balaclava,
right? How did Alex go from that to him being the one to get Lofton invited to the Vatican in just a year or two?
The Alex's big break was Keith Nestor putting him up to the James White debate. So they asked Keith Nestor, they asked Keith to do the debate with James White, and Keith said, "Nah, I think I'm going to pass on that, but I have somebody that'll be good for it." So he put Alex's name up there, and then after everybody saw his debate with James White, they were like, "Oh, okay, this kid can handle himself and he can hold his own."
It's James White, right? Any Catholic since the 90s should be able to handle James White pretty easily.
Yeah, but they're looking for someone to pass the baton to. Like they really are.
I know the whole Voice of Reason thing seems so not fabricated, but really, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't organic. His rise was not organic. It seems like it was.
I feel like that's
pushed from behind the scenes.
I feel like there's a lot of guys like that, though. I'm not going to say names, but I feel like a lot of them. Like I don't feel like a lot of them had organic growth. Like so what
orchestrated. Yes, Molly, exactly. Orchestrated.
AstroTurf is a good way to say it. So look, they are all the Scott Hans and the Jeff Cavins and even the graduating class of the 90s and 2000s, like those guys are all getting older now. And, there's an endless supply of the Steubenville crowd, but they're all getting older now. So like even Dr. John Bergsma and Bram Petrie, like those guys are just aging out. And And Catholic Answers specifically needs a group of younger guys to kind of fill those shoes.
Yeah.
So I think there is like a new class of kids coming up. I mean, you got Sips with Sarah, you got Cameron Riker, you got everybody that was at that influencer conference that Kyle posted. But I do think Alex was their top guy. I mean, he was the one that they were bringing. I mean, he was on Lila Rose's podcast. He was on Frad's podcast. He was the guy they were, for lack of a better term, grooming to be that next guy. And that kind of fell apart. So I'm curious to know what they're going to do next. But I'm telling y'all, Lila is heavily involved with this stuff. It's from her where the money flows. That's very possible.
I mean, she puts millions of dollars into her own podcast.
Yeah.
To get views, not much more than ours.
No, I'm not. I know Scott Hahn's the class of the 80s. That's not what I mean. But he was popular from the 80s until the 2010s. He still is Scott Hahn, don't get me wrong. But they do need a new crop of guys that are younger. And I think they're all looking for who to go with. And I think the problem for them is that some of the guys who are actually good at this and are captivating for the audience also have some fiery opinions about the Jewish question, or they have some fiery takes on other influencers, and they might say something controversial about other guys and stuff like that. So it's not an easy thing for them to figure out.
So the real question is, Wagner goes to this conference, right? Did they flip him?
Did they flip Wagner?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I think him and Amber are besties now, right? I mean, we saw the pictures. No.
Oh, the mighty have fallen far.
I love Wagner, but man, what were you thinking with that picture, Christian? What were you thinking? I had somebody reach out to me today and say that they could, if I wanted, they could get Amber on this show to discuss the e-girl controversy. Is he absolutely insane? Like, does he actually think that would ever happen? Like, some of you guys just don't know this show, I guess. I don't know. Yes, but that's why I think Wagner would have been a very good fit for them. Right? Like, Wagner is kind of in that mold. I'll tell you a little bit of lore. My wife occasionally watches Amber.
What?
My wife told me yesterday.
You still allow her internet after?
She goes, I don't know. I watched it the other day. She's not that bad. I'm like, don't you dare put that crap on my computer.
You know what? They're gonna accept your proposal for history checks to be a Catholic influencer. And we're all gonna see the Amber Rose,
right,
on your history.
Yeah, no, I was making fun of her a little bit for that, but yeah, I don't know, man. I'm curious to see how this whole thing pans out with Leo's next encyclical. I'm curious to see how they handle Catholic social media, because I think part of the reason they brought Leo in as the American Pope was to get a bit of control over the American media. I think it was way out of hand for them. They like, their biggest obstacle was the American Catholic media enterprise that was trad media.
Yeah,
I think they hated
that was the way under JP2 and Ratzinger. It was just the other side of the American Catholic media.
But that's the point. So they want American media on their side. Look, you still had EWTN, National Catholic Register, National Catholic Reporter. You still had a very significant portion of Catholic media who towed the line. They had under Francis.
Okay.
They had way less traffic than anybody on the other side that was like more trad.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Speaking out against this stuff.
For sure.
Because the majority of faithful American Catholics were furious with Francis. So you had your it's funny, when we went to Italy, we were there with another American pilgrimage from Texas, and they were just normie Novus Ordo parish going Catholics. They had no idea any of the stuff with Francis. Like, they didn't even pay attention to Rome at all. They were just very present in their parish, and they didn't know any of the stuff that we knew. And when we went to the Padre Pio shrine and the Rupnik art was there, they were like looking at the art, like it was like, oh, this isn't bad, you know. Well, like, and then when we told them the backstory of it, they were like, oh my gosh, this is horrific. Like they were so like unbelievably appalled by once we started telling them the story behind the Rupnik art. So the thing is, a lot of normies don't read any Catholic news. The only people that actually paid attention to the news were the people who were really upset with the direction Francis was going in. So now you have Leo comes in. He's the American Pope. He's going to kind of get the American Catholic media to tame it down a bit. And they are going to have official missionaries, official digital missionaries that they will send out into the world to push their message.
Yeah, all the people wearing t-shirts and jeans at Mass in the Vatican are going to be great missionaries.
I mean, a lot of people do consume that kind of stuff. New to the show, Anthony, where should I go to Mass on Long Island? There's 3 places you could go. St. Michael's in Farmingville is an SSPX chapel. St. Matthew's in Dix Hills, the first and third Sunday has a Latin Mass, and then St. Rocco's in Glen Cove every Sunday has an 11:30 Latin Mass. And then if you're not far from the city, you could go to Holy Innocents in Manhattan. But yeah, St. Rocco's is the ideal. But for sure, if you're close enough to St. Rocco's, definitely. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Leo handles this next encyclical, and if it does address AI, and if so, if it also addresses media personalities and how they should handle things going forward. Because I've already seen 1 or 2 things where they were talking about how, Catholic media should be to lift up and it shouldn't be to knock down and things like that. So I think we're disqualified right off the bat because we started this show off picking on other people. And I mean, we're just having fun with it and goofing around. I don't know what to tell you guys. We're a little different than everybody else. But that's just the way it goes. All right. So we can, we will wait and see how Leo proceeds. We'll wait and see how the Vatican proceeds. I'm curious to see how it goes.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
You know, at least it's going to be different than the last 12 years, even if, you know, I'm not saying it's necessarily going to be better, but it will be different.
Yeah, for a time at least.
For a time, right?
For a time at least. I'm still waiting for the unity thing to, like, it just cannot continue. For everybody's claiming Leo as their guy. I don't know. It was these people think he's Francis II. These people think he's Benedict XVII. Nobody thinks he's Leo. It's interesting.
It will be interesting to see what the first encyclical and stuff is like.
Bobby will smite you. He's not allowed to go Byzantine if he's on Long Island. It's not happening. Okay, so Catholic e-girl psychopathy. We have to at least address it for a second. So I think I sent one of the tweets here. Yeah, oh my gosh, look. Okay, we have to actually preface this. Not safe for work. If you have children around, there is going to be some pretty harsh things that these girls said to each other. If you have children around, not appropriate. I'm just going to tell you.
Well, we're not going to say it, right? We're just going to show it on screen.
I'll abbreviate it, or we'll just show it on screen. We will make sure. Well, I mean, look, yes, if you have kids, we're not going to say anything we shouldn't. It's just these girls were not very kind to Sarah Stock.
Well, to be fair, they're not even all Catholic.
Thank you, Mimi. Very much appreciated.
It's not like necessarily Catholic e-girl.
It's right-wing e-girl stuff, which is interesting. So, all right, just click on the tweet I sent, and then I think we can follow back the thread.
The one from Pearl?
Yeah, click that, and then I think we could follow it back.
Let me zoom in. Oh, wow. I did not see all of it.
Oh, yeah, it gets pretty hairy. These girls were not very kind. So click on it and then scroll up a little to the picture. Show it on screen and just click the picture.
I'm just getting it framed before I put it on screen. Give me a second.
You're doing terrible tonight, Jamie. Okay. That's not framed very well. What kind of framing is that?
So this was Sarah Stock, right?
Sarah
So,
Stock.
first, I mean, most of you people aren't going to know these women at all. So, have
So
fun, guys.
Sarah Stock is a recent convert. She's been on that Jubilee show a few times. She was at the Content Creator Conference.
She was on the charity stream for the Palestinians too.
Yes,
That's
she
awesome.
was also at Lila Rose's thing out in California, the Women Leadership Conference, which, you know, whatever, we'll forgive her for that. But so scroll up a little so we can see what her actual tweet was.
You didn't
Click the
send
picture,
it.
Rob. Just click the picture.
I hate
There you go. You click the picture. There. That's how this works. So I got to teach you how to use the internet. Boomer Rob doesn't know that if you click the picture, the tweet will come up. So she tweeted, "I won." Now scroll down on the picture so we can keep going. And so Emily Save America, who is this awful woman, awful woman. She's this conservative influencer, makes a comment like that, the ring size with a skull after.
Is this called good or bad in Zoomer language?
What do you mean?
She's saying the ring is small, right?
Yeah, she's making fun of her for the ring size. So the guy that proposed to her, she's making fun of her for the ring size. Like, there's something about women in engagement rings that is kind of appalling. That, like,
something about women that is just kind of appalling.
Well, that's what we're going through. We want to just go through how vicious women are to each other. Like, there's nothing wrong with a classy small engagement ring, especially if that's the guy can afford, and she's looking for a good Catholic man, and they're gonna make things work, and you know they don't want to dump their future on a ring. So Emily makes fun of her for the ring size. So now zoom out of the picture, and another scroll up. Now another influencer, Morgan Ariel, another right winger, says, "You give it up for free, ho. You might want to sit this one out."
The
Emily girl. But then if you scroll down and look at what Pearl said, we have to figure out how we're going to say this. Morgan, you are
this one's not as it's the ones after this that we
are very bad. Yeah. Morgan, you are a single mother with a public video admitting you have
HPV. It's okay to say an acronym.
Yeah, HPV. Yeah. You may want to sit this one out. Keep going down.
Do we really?
You think it's that bad? Maybe I can see it on my end, and I'll see. Yeah, we can't. Yeah, don't show that. Actually,
yeah.
So they then go in and start getting on Pearl for some of her past choices. Yeah, it just gets so vicious. All of this, and it comes down to, I think that women have a hard time just being happy for another woman. It's like the girl, all she did was say, "I'm engaged," instead of everybody just saying, "Oh, congratulations." I don't think that's what you're supposed to say to a woman. I think you're supposed to say, "Good luck" or something. I don't know. Whatever you're supposed to say.
I don't know if good luck. Congratulations. I would just say congratulations.
Or best wishes or something. Yeah. I don't know. I heard somebody said something about, like, you're not supposed to say congratulations to the guy. I don't know any of these stupid rules. But anyway, I found it interesting that these women could not just be happy for their fellow sister and just say congratulations. It's like there's this enmity between all of them.
It says our eyes have fried all their brains and they don't know how to be happy at all in general.
It is strange. Look, I will say Pearl's awful. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to. But she does have an interesting take that women, and I'm not saying this was Sarah there, but just she has this take where she thinks women view things husbands do for them as just ways to show off to other women, as like status symbols. It's like it's not actually about that they're grateful for the gift. They just can't wait to show it off to other women. And I have noticed that to be a bit true. So maybe you ladies should keep an eye on that. No comment, Rob?
My grandpa always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
You picked the wrong person to do a show with, buddy. All right.
I don't know.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to go over
There's no difference between a conservative woman, quote unquote, and a liberal woman.
At this point, there's not. There's just not. Yeah, they are all feminists at this point. So it's like, what are they? Conservative women nowadays, especially conservative influencer women. It's basically like, oh, I like Trump, and that makes you a conservative. And it's like Trump's a liberal, so I don't.
The only difference is whether or not they want to take testosterone to start becoming a guy. If they do, they're a liberal woman. If they don't, they're a conservative woman.
It's really just about politics. Like it's not about actual conservative values. It's just about who they vote for. That makes them conservative. And where they land on the trans issue, like that's what determines whether they're a liberal or conservative.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's like, well, if you think men shouldn't compete in women's sports, then that's the argument. That's where we are at this point. I don't know.
And we're not really including Sarah in this because she was her picture just instigated all the reaction. We're not.
I'm
really
also giving her leeway because she just became Catholic and she's like she's becoming aware of a lot of things, and she seems very open to understanding the problems at hand. So I'm not going to start bashing somebody who seems to be open to it. She doesn't come off as overly obnoxious and an attention seeker as that, like, to me yet. So I mean, I'm not whatever. I don't like any e-girls. I'm not ever having her on her show or anything. I'm just saying she's not awful yet. We'll give her some time.
Yet.
Yet.
She basically has a year to get offline. If she gets offline in a year, he was a good one. She stays online.
Somebody said when they saw that, they were just like, somebody, like all of them, their husbands need to just tell them to get off the internet. Because there's one girl, I forget what her name is. She is so freaking annoying and obnoxious, and she's putting on this LARP as if she's a trad wife, and she throws the N-word around all the time and stuff. And it's like, you are so freaking annoying to me. Like, I can't stand the way these women comport themselves in public. Like, I don't think it's wrong to have a Twitter account. I have plenty of normal, decent interactions with women on Twitter. It's like when they want to be these super big influencers and then they start telling everybody their opinions and all this stuff. That's when it kind of gets a little out of hand. What did Molly say?
I was just saying, you were saying that it's okay for women to have a Twitter account. Some of them are good. And I was like Molly.
Right. No, there's plenty of women I interact with on Twitter that are just there. Like, they'll throw a comment here, a comment there, but they're not trying to be these superstars online and trying to like the idea that a trad wife is going to be the breadwinner through her social media is absurd to me.
The internet was a much better place when a woman had to decide whether she wanted to go online or use the phone.
Yeah, because it was on the same line,
right? So they usually used the phone and didn't use the internet.
What do you think about? Because we've been talking about AI a lot. Do you think women are in trouble with the coming AI revolution? Because it seems like most of the jobs that are going to be replaced are these silly jobs that women have done for the better part of 30-40 years. Like, they're all these office jobs and things like that.
On one hand, like, it is strange that AI, which is going to be incredibly disruptive and destructive, could also be the thing that destroys like a 2-income household, right? Because you're right, a lot of the jobs that will destroy are ones that women are largely predominantly a part of. But at the same time, it's not like most of those jobs, honestly, like today, are even necessary, right? It's almost like you see it online. People will say like most of these jobs were invented to basically, it's like daycare for women, so women don't go have kids, more or less. So I have no doubt that human ingenuity will invent a whole new cadre of useless jobs.
We'll see how it goes. All right. But
AI in general is dangerous. It almost got me killed this weekend. So
we're going to do that on Locals. That's actually a really interesting story. We'll release that as a clip later on, but I want to do that on Locals. I do want to do the woman with the divorce thing, or the woman with the dead husband thing.
Okay.
So let's bring that clip up. This is all right. So everybody that's still around, this is a very interesting clip. and it raises a lot of moral questions. And if you guys did not see this video yet, it is pretty interesting, and we're going to get into discussing it. It's actually a really
Are we going to
good
get a
discussion.
copyright? It's ABC Nightline.
It's from 10 years ago. I don't know.
Okay. Otherwise, if there's something else we could do and do this on locals.
We can
what about that other woman clip?
We'll do the Inca thing.
Depends
let's do that.
what sort of words are you going to
Uncivilized.
use for them.
Well, let's see what she says. So it's above that in the show notes. Uncivilized, it says.
Yeah.
All right. If you guys want to see that other clip, you're gonna have to come over to locals. Maybe we'll release it later after Rob
wait,
runs it
that
through
one or
the
the
checks.
one from Matt Walsh, or is that the same?
No. Matt Walsh is the one from Matt Walsh is part 2.
Okay.
That's part 2. So the one above that is part 1.
Okay, here we go.
No, you don't go to locals now, Steve. We'll tell you when.
Also, so people know, we did stop releasing the full podcast the full show on audio podcast. But for those of you who do just listen and don't watch the videos and you don't want to pay $5 for locals, you can subscribe for $3 a month to listen to the full audio.
Rob's
version.
getting his grift on. I love it. Yes.
We did have our first person subscribe. Oh, also the store. The store is back up.
Oh,
the merch
Rob got the
store.
merch fixed.
Yeah, we have to rebuild every listing, so there's only like 3 options available now for shirts, but we'll get that rebuilt.
You are able to get have you accepted Mary as your personal mother and intercessor?
And
shirt? That's
your
always our
I'm
best seller.
religious, not spiritual.
We are also going to get a I have been blocked by Father James Martin shirt coming.
We should also do a reason and theology one too.
And we should get I've been blocked by reason and theology for sure. We got to do something with Lawton. Come on. He's definitely going to be a moneymaker for us.
Okay, we ready for this?
All right, let's go.
You were telling me the Spanish looked at this and said uncivilized. The Inca built the Morai terraces as an agricultural laboratory because each separate circle created a different microclimate so they could figure out exactly what to grow at what elevation. The Inca, who cultivated 44 types of corn and 4,000 types of potatoes. The Inca, who built this stuff 600 years ago, and it is still standing because it's all earthquake proof.
Only 600
The
years
Inca,
ago.
who created salt flats that still to this day aren't privatized. They're all sharing it from the same hot spring in the mountain, and everyone gets a share. Not to mention Coricancha, Machu Picchu, the fact that all of their cities were made intentionally in the shapes of animals that were important to them.
That's
This
just
reminds me
stupid.
of exactly what happened in Tenochtitlan. When Cortez laid eyes on that city for the first time, he wrote in his diary that the temples were grander than anything he would have seen in Sevilla. Yeah, you're telling me the Spanish saw this and they said, nah, inferior.
Now,
Yeah, then they tore it down with 100 guys. That's it. That's all it took.
civilized. The word civilized. You're talking about people who would murder innocent children and offer them as sacrifice. You're talking about people who sacrifice virgins. The Inca actually made earthen cakes of dung and roasted them in the sun.
Read it in her voice. The Inca who made earthen cakes of dung and roasted them in the sun.
This is such a dumb way to look at things. There were always grand civilizations, if you want to use that word, but like civilized, the way you would think is.
Plus, just, I mean, oh yeah, they made these buildings 600 years ago. Yeah, but the Europeans sailed halfway around the world from their own buildings that they had made 1400 years before that.
She's
to
bringing
go
about
and destroy these civilizations with 100 guys. Like, it doesn't compare.
Oxford is older than this place. Like
Yes.
that's what you have to
Yes.
understand. So she's bringing about this happening 600 years ago. We had universities and we had hospitals and
Oh yeah, they had 4,000 types of potatoes. They still starved to death all the time.
and these temples that they built was with slave labor that they can. It's just the idea that what we brought to them was salvation, because they could then actually be freed up to learn and live in a way that is like we live. I don't even want to say now, like, because what was happening during the Middle Ages, it was just this boom of seeing women have dignity, and that there's just so much to go along with it, and you're just not sacrificing human beings.
The Romans, the civilization that God deigned to come into the world into, right, had aqueducts that carried water hundreds of miles through mountains. Like, they dug through mountains to carry this water at the exact same angle over the hundreds and hundreds of miles, so that it would create running fountains in the city of Rome. From the Alps to Rome at the same angle, through literal mountains, done to almost 2,000 years before their stupid step pyramids.
Yeah, it's not about, okay, cool, they figured out how to grow corn and they built some cool stuff. I mean, you go back 5,000 years and you have cool stuff being built. It doesn't mean they shouldn't have been evangelized and had the gospel brought to them, because the gospel is actually what civilizes man. So she could call it civilization, or she could say they're civilized, but no, they actually weren't. They were hacking each other to death, and they were roaming bands of, I mean, go watch Apocalypto. That's what these people were dealing with.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had cool gardens, guys. It's like,
what's the point of having 4,000 types of potatoes if you don't know how to make French fries? And who made French fries? I'll give you a hint. It wasn't the Incas.
All right, so go down to Matt Walsh's tweet, because that's part 2 to this. And so she caught a bunch of flack for her post. So I think she tries to respond, and then we can actually read what Matt Walsh said, because he did a better job than I will.
I will die on this hill. I'm specifically talking about the Inga here. We're not talking.
You will die on that hill, and they will sacrifice you for it.
Yeah,
like, 100%. Come on. The irony of saying that.
The irony of saying that, because I will die on this hill, is actually probably
that hill, that one right there.
Yeah,
that they sacrifice people on. You're gonna die on that one.
Machu Picchu. That's where you're gonna die on
it. They'll give your body to the 4,000 types of potatoes.
Yeah, you won't be the only one who died there. Many people died on that hill, honey. Don't worry.
Yeah. 40,000 in one day. Who knew?
About the Mexica, that's a whole separate type of sacrifice. If we're just looking at Tawantinsuyu, the Quechua people, the Incan Empire.
She's just making up words. She's got to be just making up words.
Yeah. They practice sacrifices like most other civilizations throughout history did in times of crisis. So famine, natural disasters. But the unique thing about the Quechua is that when you're looking at like the Incan civilization, you essentially have the elites and then you have everyone else. Sacrifices were volunteers from the elite class because they believed that the elites were closer to the gods and could therefore appease them better. Also, in terms of sacrifice, they were kind about it. Hear me out. Because unlike the Mexica, when you're like ripping out a still beating heart out of someone's chest, the Inca would intentionally use coca leaves and would use chicha and would
get them real high
up the sacrifice and then leave them on a mountain, a cold, chilly mountain, to be exposed to the elements. Which, if you're good, a volunteer sacrifice where you're heavily drugged before you.
I say we heavily drug this woman and leave her out in the cold for a night.
Like, no, but think about what she says. This civilization, like all civilizations, offered sacrifice. These people don't understand the greatness of the gospel spreading throughout the world. Yes, every civilization had these awful sacrifices where they sacrificed human beings, where they murdered innocent people, where holy virgins were saved, and they would sacrifice these virgins who were pure. Which is funny, because even the ancient pagans understood that there was something pure about virgins that Protestants don't understand.
I just think it's funny how in the first clip she's trying to tell us how wonderful this civilization was because they were all kind of communists and had salt flats and they all were equal. But in this one, she's like, "Oh, but the elites who were actually closer to God." It's like, make up your flipping mind, woman. Are they good because they're commies, or are they good because they aren't commies?
It's just this whole what do they call it? The
Yeah, yeah. Imagine
the
sacrificing
colonization, right? Imagine sacrificing
Well,
your.
hold on.
Well, you know
Hold
what?
on. She's actually got a good idea,
Might
guys.
be onto something. Maybe the elites do need to be sacrificed
Let's
right
get
now.
Biden's already high off his mind. Let's give Trump some coke and go leave him on a mountain somewhere.
So Matt Walsh says, history teacher on TikTok says that the Incan child sacrifices were kind and voluntary. Children were merely left to freeze to death, which isn't so bad when you think about it. She blames white people for having a judgmental view of human sacrifice. No, it's what it really is. Needless to say, the claim that 8-year-old kids volunteered to die of starvation and hypothermia is insane. These are the kinds of moral monsters that teach your children in public schools. But Matt's even missing something, because this is the glory of the gospel spreading throughout the world, right? When you get into these ancient cultures, every one of them did have human sacrifice. Every one of them, if there were children who were born with any kind of deformity, would just leave, especially the Greeks would just leave any child out to die in the elements.
Now you have Iceland, who has got rid of Down syndrome by aborting every fetus that tests positive.
That's their
for it.
idea of curing Down syndrome. You just go back to the way the pagans lived. The thing that spurred on so much evangelism in the early church was that the early Christians would pick these children up off the side of the road when they were left to die. And the idea of an orphanage is a Christian idea. The Christians would take these children who were going to be thrown away, and they would raise these children with love, and they would be cared for. And it was this is what Jesus meant by, he said, they will know you by your love. And when people saw how they cared for the downtrodden and the throwaways of the world, it's actually what moved people's hearts to actually want to believe in the gospel. So much so that when Julian the Apostate tries to reinvigorate the pagan rituals, he makes some of the pagan gods, like the priests of the pagan cults, start to care for the poor, because that's what's attracting so many people to Christianity. And he tries to make it sound like that these cults always did that, when they never did. It was just something he saw that was so attractive to people that he started telling these priests, no, you have to start caring for the poor and doing things like this, and try to mimic some of the good parts of Christianity, which is also what you see in modern movements like BLM and things like that, where they try to make it seem like they are caring for the people who are in need, or even the LGBT movement. It's a mockery of Christianity. They mimic it in trying to like emulate compassion when it's a false compassion.
Yeah, 100%.
So this is what happens when the gospel spreads throughout the world, is you get rid of these ancient cults where the human sacrifice is performed and these evil things are done. And not just that, like marriage. We have a tendency to say things like marriage predates religion, and marriage is something that transcends cultures and it's ubiquitous throughout humanity, but it's not really. Yes, it is, where a man would claim a woman for himself, but for the most part of human history, it was polygamy. It was one man would have multiple wives and things like that. It was Christianity that started putting these demands on men, saying, no, you can only have one wife and you can't divorce her. You can't just get rid of her when you're done with her. And this is actually what elevates the dignity of women and puts it where, and that has to do with us seeing Our Lady as the crown of God's creation. So if Our Lady has that much dignity, that elevates the dignity of all women.
Yeah, people don't understand that that a well-ordered patriarchy actually exists in order to protect women, because in societies that are matriarchies and are matrilineal, to where you trace descent through your mother's line, and this includes Judaism, right? You are a Jew if your mother is a Jew, right?
Yes.
The reason those societies trace descent through their mother's line is because more or less rape was so common that you never knew who your father was. You only knew who your mother was. So you could only trace your descent through your mother. So we see a lot of Native American tribes that are matrilineal, and they're celebrated as being these these great, enlightened matriarchies. No, no, no. The men were raping all the women they wanted, and you only knew who your mother was. You never knew who your father was.
Yeah.
And that's what a patriarchy is for. To protect the women, to protect society, protect
Yeah.
children, all under
Yeah,
strong
and
men.
you're starting to see that as patriarchy disappears, how women are no longer respected and they are being degraded and they're doing things that you would have found horrific 50, 60 years ago, but now this is like totally normal.
And it's often at the hands of other women too.
Yeah.
Right. Which we just saw that with the whole Sarah Stock Pearl thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So, all right, now I want to do two things over on the other side. I want to do the Dave Ramsey clip because it's pretty insane, and then I want to do the woman with her husband. So we're gonna go over to locals. I'm gonna do those two segments because I don't want to get hit with copyrights on either one of those videos. So if you guys are not locals members, that's where we actually get to say things a little more freely. We get to have more fun over there. Locals is definitely the place to be. If you guys are not members, please join us over there.
You'll get to hear how I was swatted this weekend.
Yeah, oh, that too. So those are the three things we're covering over there. I got this Dave Ramsey clip is so insane to me. This woman, 34 years old, marries a 51-year-old millionaire. He makes her sign a prenup. And when you hear the marriage advice Dave Ramsey gives, and it all comes down to money. And I'm just sitting there listening, like, what? Like, why would this guy offer this advice to her? This is so insane. He has no idea. He's hearing this woman for 30 seconds and just believes her story. It just sounds preposterous to me. So, and
this is all coming down to you don't believe.
I don't believe a word out of this woman's mouth. Not a word of it. I don't believe her. I think she's a liar, and I don't believe her.
All you've heard is the exact same 30 seconds as him.
I just know. I know that this woman's lying. Like, I just know she's framing it the way she wants to frame it to make herself sound like she's this poor innocent victim. And Dave Ramsey's like, this is no, you have to do this. Wait till you hear his advice. It's insane.
Okay.
I want to know, is Dave Ramsey on his first marriage too? Like, I don't think anybody I don't think anybody that their first marriage didn't work out should be giving marriage advice to anybody.
Very true.
That's just how I feel. So, all right, we're gonna go over to the other side. If you guys are not over there, you're missing out. Take us out.